Well, with a title like Get Ready to Race with Cassante, Porsche and more, it surely is a Wild Rift update. So Riot is about to step into a whole new interesting territory. But it's not an entirely unexplored territory, and that's because we've been here before. Just not like that. You see, in the past, Riot mentioned that collab skins are not something that League would like to do. At least not the way Fortnite does it. And that's because if you have a character from another IP and you slap them onto a League of Legends champion, well now all the characteristics of the original character are gone. And so if you, let's say, put a Witcher skin onto a League of Legends champion, it would be hard to guess if that's a Garen or Samira. Overwatch actually had some trouble with this in the past. The only thing you can rely on telling you what champion it is animations. But since legendary skins have unique animations, we're screwed. And of course Fortnite doesn't have that issue because every player does the same thing. You don't have to know who's who visually because they don't have special abilities. However, that doesn't mean that Riot can't do collabs in their own way. And in fact, they tried to do these 3 times before. When League first launched on Mac, the iBlitzcrank became a thing. Then of course, let's not forget the Louis Vuitton Kiana. But also, I had no idea that this was a thing. But apparently in 2022, the Crystal Rose skins got a Tiffany & Co. chroma. Again, I actually had no idea. But yes, technically Riot did already pull off 3 separate collabs, even though the iBlitzcrank had nothing to do with Apple. And now Wild Rift is bringing back this idea of turning champions into strangely walking billboards. And Wild Rift specifically is trying to tackle this with a whole new roaring engine. And speaking of roaring engines, war is upon us. As is portrayed in the peak of all war simulators, War Thunder. This video is sponsored by War Thunder. War Thunder is the most immersive and comprehensive vehicle combat game you have ever seen. And it is available for free on PC, consoles and mobile devices. Dive straight into combat, piloting perhaps the most detailed vehicles, with realistic graphics and authentic sound effects that were pulled right from the history books. And my favorite part, look at these X-ray shots accurately depicting the destruction of peak engineering. You can practically smell it, just like how you can smell the optimization. With over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters and ships. With 10 different nations, including their own unique vehicles, from the armored cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets of the days of today. It is only up to you to choose the right machine. And once you do, why don't you decorate it with countless historical markings and camouflages? With over 95 million players worldwide, you too can easily hop into the PvP combat and bask in the glorious experience. Whether you are a fan of military history or you are just a new recruit, history does not ask questions. So don't wait and use the links in the description to play for free on PC, Xbox, PlayStation and mobile devices. Of course, be ready for a massive bonus pack that is available for new players as well as returning players who haven't played in the last 6 months on PC and consoles, which includes a bunch of premium vehicles and special decorators. And all of that is only available for a limited time. So your time is now. So Riot found a new partner, and it is kinda interesting how it all falls into place. Because previously, when it comes to cars, they had Mercedes. Do they have an issue with this? Because yes, Wild Rift got a new partner, Porsche. I'll be honest, don't ask me about cars, I own a Microlino. Anyway, in collaboration with all of this, Wild Rift announced that their newest patch will be based on racing. Which means there's gonna be new racing visuals at the beginning of the game, there will be some racing events, there will be racing wards, and there will also be a bunch of racing skins called the Neon Daredevils. To be completely honest, these skins are visually amazing. They are bright, they look cool, and most importantly, apparently they are not done in collaboration with Porsche. Instead, there is one skin that is. It was confirmed that there is one skin that was made in collaboration with Porsche, but it is not ready to be revealed yet, and so it is just a mystery. Of course, based on the silhouette, you can see that this is gonna be a skin for Kaisa, and they teased something by mentioning that you'll be able to customize your license plate. Now, this could mean multiple things. It could mean that you can customize an aspect of the new skin to be different, kinda like a chroma skin. But it could also mean that you'll be able to change the health bar on the player, or even how the announcer name looks. But once again, it is Kai'Sa who's getting the main treatment, and that's because, of course, it is Kai'Sa, with the rest being totally legally distinct racers. With that said, in the Porsche collaboration, it was also mentioned that since Kai'Sa is getting this special treatment, so will Gragas! How many of you predicted that? But yes, Gragas will be getting a new epic skin that will be given away. And last but not least, since Wild Rift also has the pets as their own cosmetic, they also made a new Porsche companion, which is horse. And for the most part, that's actually it for that specific collaboration, at least for now. So what this actually means is that Riot got a new partner that is seemingly not tied to League specifically, because they should still have a deal with Mercedes, and so it's possible that Wild Rift is just getting their own engine. Speaking of which, even though we will dive into the skins later, because that's what Wild Rift does, let's have a look at the Neon Daredevils now. Since all of these skins are racers, you can expect all of them to have their own unique vehicles. And so Aurora is getting her own scooter that has bunny ears. She also has a lightsaber. And I just want to point out, look at how amazing these intro animations are. I'm pretty sure that's why League is getting their own new client. Then there is Irelia, who is, of course, a biker on a hoverbike jet. Some people did point out she kinda reminds them of Buzz Lightyear. Then there is Zed, who, to be honest, kinda looks like Varus. But he did get his proper race car. I like how the wheels are actually the shurikens, and I love the jets on the blades. And then there is also a skin for Kai'Sa, who should be getting the Porsche version too. But of course, as you can see, she is a biker. And you can tell that this is a slightly different skin from the previous silhouette, because the silhouette had smooth engines on her shoulders. And lastly, there is also an amazing skin for Hecarim. Of course, Hecarim is not a rider on a machine, he is the machine himself. And oh boy, does this one look really good. But that is it for the racing skins for now. We'll dive into the other skins later. And so next, they also revealed new champions, which are of course old champions from League of Legends. And so, Cassante has arrived to Wild Rift. Of course, gameplay-wise, we are talking about a one-to-one mirror from League of Legends, which only means one thing. Have you seen the comment section? I mean, League has had its own history with Cassante being totally balanced. Surely Wild Rift will be different. And looking at the HD model, I mean, Cassante was already a pretty modern champion, but all these details really pop out. Although, there is one thing I want to mention. You can see that in his animations, he's kinda just peeking out with the blades from his Notofos. But in the lore, Cassante is supposed to break the weapons to form the sharp edges. And because the Notofos are made out of regenerative scales, over time the weapons will shape themselves back into the blocks. It is not a switching weapon where you press a button and the blade comes out. That's not how it works. Anyway, then there is also Thalia. Now, Thalia is also a one-to-one replica from League of Legends. And again, the HD model is really good, although, yes, I have seen the conversation on the internet. People are pointing out that this is a slightly more prettified Thalia, and I will have to agree. In fact, Thalia has one of the most recognizable faces in League of Legends. And that is because when it comes to her face, it actually looks structurally different. Have you seen the memes for the female League of Legends champions? They are all the same, but Thalia, she stands out. And so yes, it is kinda sad to see that she got standardized to fit into League of Legends faces. Though again, the HD model looks pretty good overall. And lastly, there is also Skarner, and if you have a look at the comment section, you might notice that people are calling this model the best one yet. And I kinda see why. There are surprisingly a lot of details here. I love all the lively muscles and the tissue that's connecting the exoskeleton. It really makes Skarner feel like a living titanic creature. However, remember that he is titanic, which makes me wonder, how did the Ishtali make these ropes? Anyway, of course, gameplay-wise, we're talking about Skarner from League of Legends. But that's when the devs go into the gameplay of the racing. And since you would be expecting racing in a racing patch, they start talking about runes. Now if you're a League player, you don't really need the details here, so just know that support tanks and artillery mages are not having a great time in Wild Rift currently, and so they are getting buffs in the form of new runes, and for the most part, that's it. So then we go into game modes, which of course means racing, if racing wasn't a game mode. But the racing is shoved in pretty well anyway. You see, of course, Wild Rift also has ARM Mayhem. In fact, they were the first ones to do it, and so now they are updating it with racing. And so, instead of using gates, you'll be able to launch yourself in a car. The center of the map also has track overlay, which is most likely a gate that lets you hop between the two sides. Then, of course, the snowballs were turned into cars. And there are new racing augments, because, again, it is ARM Mayhem. And just like how in League PC it is currently carrying the casual play, in Wild Rift it is doing the same wonders. And yes, let's not forget that they also have Arena, and Arena will also get some updates. Specifically, they just updated how you can team up with other players, because they do care about ranked in Arena. But for the gameplay, that's kinda it. For a racing patch, there is not too much racing, even though there is a big collaboration happening. And so, of course, at the end, Wild Rift does one thing: showcase a lot of skins. And so, besides the racing skins, there are also soul fighters. Here, Mbessa is getting a new unique skin that looks really good. Viego is also getting ported over from League of Legends. Senna is also getting a new skin for the skin line. Then there is also Varus, which surprisingly looks like a totally normal dude. Then there is a Victor, which I assume is a big old Hero Academia reference. I really like the hand covering the face, but I've also seen some other people hate it. Then there is Ashen Knight Samira, which is a new unique skin, looks also badass. And then there is Cyberpop Zoe, there is Heartsteel Cassante, there is Pool Party Talia, there is Battle Academia Zillion. This one kinda proves how cool it is when you do variety skins for already existing skin lines. That skin looks great. Then there is Cutie Cafe Nora, and let's not forget that there is also a new glorious skin for Jax, which is the victorious skin essentially. And that is it. So for a big collab patch that's all about driving, there is not that much driving, and the collab is not that big, even though I'm saying that now. We still have to wait and see what the Porsche skin is actually gonna be. But without it, the patch is kinda missing something. But here you go, Riot is once again going for a new collab idea. And while it is all gonna depend on the pricing of the skin, it is one step closer towards an interesting direction, which is also a step closer to other IPs running around the Summoner's Rift. And let's be honest, we all know what's gonna happen if Riot listens to the devil. Once again, many thanks to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Use the links in the description to play for free right now and look forward to a massive bonus pack containing premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle Valor decorator, as well as 100,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium account. That is all available to new and returning players who haven't played in the last 6 months on PC and consoles.